Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Alamdar. In your city, give you sports information from all across the globe. You guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is @Indus News Sports. That works both for Twitter and for Instagram. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. And yes, from the world of Kashmir Premier League, it is still underway, while on Sunday, Bagh Stallions beat Mirpur Royals by 15 runs. And Ravla Courts, Hawks and the Kotli Lions were abandoned due to heavy rain. And yes, from the world of golf, Mexico's Abraham Ancer manages to win WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational on Sunday. And yes, from the world of Tokyo Olympics marathon, Kenya's Eliud Kipchoge successfully defends Olympic marathon title. And yes, talking about Tokyo Olympics, the closing ceremony marks end of behind closed door games. And yes, so those were the headlines. And we surely start off with KPL, obviously talking about the Kashmir Premier League. It took a while. It took a lot of courage to start it. The opening ceremony was on Friday. And the first match actually that took place, obviously Bagh Stallion won the toss, and obviously they managed to win because they managed to score 212 runs. But to discuss the in-depth analysis, we have with us Adnan Qureshi, a cricket expert. Adnan, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you, Alamdar? Thank you for having me on the show.
Great. So I'll start off with a final round of applause that obviously it did start. KPL finally did start. I think it's an honor for all of us. And watching that first match, Bagh Stallion versus Mirpur Royals, and obviously Stallions managed to win by 15 runs. So what's your take on this first match? And then we can further discuss more in terms of the in-depth analysis of KPL.
I think it was a good game. It's a batting wicket, as you can tell. So, if you have a heavy batting team, you're going to score big. So, bat first on these wickets, pick up a big score, and then try to contain the opposition as best as you can. Good to see Shan Masood scoring a good 78 and Asad Shafiq. So, the international players are coming good on these matches. I would have liked to see some more international players in the squads, but it is what it is. And I think it's a good competition, and it should be interesting to see how it goes.
Right, and if we talk about KPL, if we look back into how PSL started, because if we compare it, because PSL, when it started, obviously the franchise it started, it took a while to establish and get the momentum. But I think in terms of Kashmir Premier League, I think we automatically gained a lot of momentum in terms of, getting the word out there. And obviously a lot of question marks from BCCI, and then, writing into ICC. But still, them concluding it and making it a go, I think it is a major success.
Well, I think it's a great thing for cricket in that region, and it's great for the young talent to come out and shine. And I think that it was a much required initiative. Doesn't matter what the BCCI thinks; it doesn't concern us. They've tried their best to sabotage the event, but that's expected. We should not pay any attention to that and continue playing good cricket in the tournament and prove to the world that this league is here to stay, and it's going to be a wonderful competition. That's the bottom line that they should
absolutely
work on.
One more important question, obviously, I would want to ask you as well. In terms of if we look into the situations and scenarios of how things are formulating for KPL, because a lot of question marks were there for Cricinfo. Cricinfo is one of the biggest websites that covers scores live, but they have not been covering it live. But finally now we do see schedules there, but still it's a big question mark and a lot of eyebrows that are raised. So how do you see this further developing? Because it needs to be recognized, because ICC exactly recognized it. So I think Cricinfo has that responsibility to do so.
I think it's just very strong lobbying from the BCCI and the Indian Cricket Board, and I think the Pakistan Cricket Board needs to step up their game and start lobbying and start bringing other cricket boards onto their side and explaining to them the point of view of this league, and that is not political. It is more to promote sport in the region and move away from that narrative that the Indian Cricket Board is consistently building about the politics, which has got nothing to do with the sport itself. And the Pakistan Cricket Board needs to do some more strong lobbying, which will in turn then tell the ICC to push the ESPN, Cricinfo, and other bodies like this to start showing the cricket scores and give better coverage to the league.
Right, and I would still think big round of applause for PCB for coming out great and making sure it executes the Kashmir Premier League. And not only this, right now, obviously, we want to talk about Rawalakot Hawks versus Kotli Lions that was abandoned due to rain. So when we talk about Kashmir, we know how the weather is. So how do you see it further developing in terms of the future matches? Because I think this is currently one thing that, the kind of beautiful area it is. It's obviously way above sea level, and you'd always find a lot of rain. So do you think, all these matches will continue in terms of this, because it's going to be super risky in terms of rain?
Yeah, I would really hate for the rain to play spoil sport for the entire tournament. But I mean, that's always expected in a tournament at an altitude like this. So, we can just hope for the best and let the cricket go on. And if there are some rain reduced games, then, obviously the Duckworth-Lewis method comes in. And I hope that they get results, and at least the complete matches are not abandoned without a ball being bowled like in the Rawalakot and Kotli match. So we're hoping for the best. I don't see too much rain in Islamabad in the next couple of days. So hopefully we won't get too much rain in Muzaffarabad.
Well, we hope for the best. And that was pretty much it from the world of KPL. I would also want to discuss with you Bangladesh versus Australia, the current T20 tournament that's underway. And, it's very interesting to see how Bangladesh has, formulated and, stood strong against the Aussies. I think it is surely a question mark that, they've already won the series 3-1 against Australia. So how do you see them further developing themselves for the future World T20 World Cup, which is scheduled in Oman and the UAE?
Bangladesh has always been a dangerous side. I mean, I've always thought they're a great cricket side. They're packed with a lot of slow spin bowlers. These kind of conditions really suit them. Australia is completely out of its league in this part of the world. As you could see on these pitches, they had no idea how to counter the Bangladesh bowling. And I think Bangladesh is a very strong side in these conditions. Nobody should take them easy. And I see a very good future for them as the tournament is going to start very soon. So, yeah, Australia was completely overmatched in this series.
I absolutely agree.
Sure.
And talking about Shakib Hassan, I would want to specifically mention him. If we look into his performance, his stats, he's one of the biggest all-rounders. He's been on the top. So how do you see further helping and evolving in terms of his performance for the team? Because I think Bangladesh is going to go out there more like a dark horse, because in between they did have a bit of downfalls. But in the conditions of Oman and the UAE, I think countries like Bangladesh can surely make that lit and maybe be at the very stronger side of the World Cup T20.
I think Shakib Hassan being as a mentor in this side is a great. Mahmudullah, Shakib Hassan, the senior players with a very young team underneath. I think they're a great combination of players. Shakib still has a couple of very good years left in him. Right. He's one of the best all-rounders in world cricket. Phenomenal player. So I think he'll play a very, very important role in grooming these youngsters in Bangladesh. And I think Bangladesh has a very bright future ahead of them. I think they just need courage and strong leadership. And I think they will provide really good results in the upcoming T20. I think teams should be very, very wary of them.
I absolutely agree, and we're so looking for the future development. And Adnan, I would want to have a quick word with you with regards to England versus India. Obviously, it started off very interestingly because England was all bowled out for 183, and then finally came India, started making their run for it. But at the end of it all, the match ended up in a draw. So how do you see this further developing for not only England, but also India?
Well, I don't think I've ever seen such a ferocious Indian pace attack in all my life that I've been following cricket and been an expert at it. I mean, it's just phenomenal to see Indian cricket come up with such a phenomenal pace attack, right. As you could see. And they completely outdid the English batsmen. England has a problem at the opening position right now. They have a couple of batsmen that probably don't deserve to be in the English team. Right. And they need to look into that. The opening pair is the problem for England. But I think they were completely outmatched. India was well set to win this game. Unfortunately, the rain came in and saved England. Right. They are very lucky that they got away from this one. And so they really need to dig deep and come up with a better strategy, because this Indian pace attack, I tell you, is one for the ages. I've never seen anything like this. It's amazing.
Well, let's hope all goes well. Adnan, thank you so much for giving us your take in terms of the world of cricket. Thank you very much once again.
Well, thank you for having me, Alamdar. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
So we currently discussed the KPL and obviously how KPL is further evolving. We surely want it to be the best, and it's just the beginning in terms of the whole situation. And as mentioned earlier, the Bach Stallions actually managed to win, which was super interestingly by 15 runs against Mirpur Royals. Not to forget that the next match that actually took place was abandoned due to rain, which was surely another issue. But still, yet again, the show must go on. Obviously, the game has to be there. I think things will develop further. We also talked about how Bangladesh is now proving themselves as super contenders for the upcoming World Cup T20, which is surely going to be in the UAE and Oman. So, initially it was happening in India, but due to the COVID-19 situation, it had to be rescheduled. So ICC has also announced all the groups. We're so looking forward for that. And not only that, besides that, I would also want to talk about what we discussed, which was England versus India, where India actually made that phenomenal start, but obviously could not, I think, rain managed to help England. But not to forget, England is also going through a few injuries. And if we talk about their bowlers, specifically if we talk about Archer, he is surely going through a lot of injuries. And that is surely going to be one big loss for England in the long run in terms of World Cup T20, because I don't think he would be playing the tournament. But anyways, guys, this was from the world of cricket. What we'll do is we'll take a quick break. Once we get back from the break, there is more coming in from the world of sports. See you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back from the break. And yes, before the break, we were discussing the world of cricket, but not to forget that we also talk about all sorts of sports. So yes, as mentioned earlier, like we were talking about KPL and what's really happening in the world of cricket. Now we would talk about the world of golf. Yes, I'm going to talk about a big weekend that actually happened in Mexico's. Abraham Ancer manages to get that gold for the very first time. And it was a very, very close call in terms of the world of golf. And Sam Burns followed up by Hideki Matsuyama. But to discuss the in-depth analysis of what truly happened, we have with us our golf expert, Mr. Art Strickling. Art, welcome to the show.
Hey, always good to be with you. Love talking golf.
Great. So Art, what's your complete take with regards to how Mexico has finally made up its point, and now they have gotten, finally getting, someone's got the first championship in terms of the World Golf Championships. So what's your take on him getting to this point? And then we can further discuss those who were competing with him, followed on by where they concluded.
Sure. Well, it just shows you that all countries produce great golfers. And he's actually the fourth Mexican golfer to win on the PGA Tour, but certainly the first in almost a decade.
Right.
And so, Ancer, great story, came from very humble beginnings, moved to San Antonio about 6 years ago, has worked hard with in San Antonio with Clay Collins and Ryan Poulsen, who have helped him greatly on his game. But, he had finished second 4 times. And so getting over the hump, getting that victory, really very important to him. And, he got it done in a playoff, sudden death, had a couple of chances, finally hit the shot, 8 feet, putts, Sam Burns misses, and Abraham Ancer is your FedEx winner. So great start for him and great start for Mexico. They had already obviously produced Lorena Ochoa, who dominated the women's LPGA Tour from Mexico. But to see Ancer do it on the American Tour really has to give you a lot of hope for the great players coming out of Mexico.
True. And as you mentioned earlier, in terms of his track record, you've mentioned also that he's come up to a point of getting the victory. But I think as you mentioned, he came like second in a few tournaments. But this time he finally got to a point of putting Matsuyama behind and putting Sam Burns behind, because they were the two contenders who were super close to him in terms of their experience. And obviously, as we know, Matsuyama won one of the major events. So I think it surely is a big round of applause for someone from Mexico coming out and getting the gold for himself and the nation.
Oh, no doubt about it. And when you look at it, really, both Matsuyama, who had won the Masters this year, and Sam Burns, they had both won 3 tournaments already. So they had won multiple times, looking to add another. He had never won before on the PGA Tour. And the fact that he was able to pull it off with, in a playoff format where any shot could cost you the tournament or any shot could win you the tournament. And his approach shot on 18, 8 feet, over the water there. Very tough course at TPC Southwind. Shows you that it was truly his time to win. And the fact that they had more experience than him, they had won and he had not. But, no one had won more money, no one had won more FedEx points than Ancer without winning the tournament. So now he's corrected that. He's won. He's now sixth in the FedEx standings, and really pertains well for him. A lot of golf still to go. The Olympics are behind us now. 4 majors are behind us. But the fact that we still have the Ryder Cup upcoming, we still have the FedEx Cup upcoming, really think it speaks well for a lot of good golf, a lot of good chances to move up in the standings. And, Ancer is a good guy. Like I said, I don't live too far from him. I've been down to his home club, seen him working before, know how hard he works. And the fact that he's connected with some American teachers, Clay Collins, Ryan Paulson, really, really speaks a lot for his work ethic, but also getting paid off for that in the end.
Absolutely, and super happy to know, you know him in terms of personally, and you probably know how much he has worked for this point to achieve, and many congratulations to him. In terms of the TPC Southwind, we're talking about the golf course itself in Shelby County, Tennessee. What was the weather and the conditions like? Because in between you did mention it was a tough course. So how tough was it in terms of, all the golfers out there?
Oh, very tough. Obviously, it was warm, very warm this time of year in Memphis where they played. A lot of humidity there. Very much like, Southeast Asia, very much like, the Caribbean, a lot of heat, a lot of humidity. Right. Water is there. Water comes into play. And you saw that, Siwoo Kim tied a PGA Tour record by making it 13 on number 11 yesterday. 13 on number 11, puts 3 balls in the water. Bryson DeChambeau, who is really struggling with his game right now. Right. He puts 2 in the water on 11, puts 1 on 10, puts it in the water. Sam Burns, who had a 3-shot lead at one time, puts in the water twice on the back nine. So water really is a big equalizer there. Ancer avoided the water. He kept his ball dry. The others did not. And so this shows you that a guy like DeChambeau, who obviously has a lot of experience, Sam Burns has experience, but they weren't able to avoid danger spots. And that's one of the things the pros do well, is that they don't make many bad shots, but they stay away from the big number. And that's really what Ancer did. I mean, you can make a bogey here or there. If you make a bogey, you can make a birdie and kind of equalize that out. Right. But stay away from the triples. Stay away from the large number. Right. Siwoo Kim makes 13 on 11. Has a PGA Tour record of the highest score on a par 3 hole. Really just amazing the fact that Ancer, calm, collected. He's churning inside. He wants that win badly, but he stays away from the big numbers and really did a good job. And that's why he's your winner at the FedEx Classic.
Absolutely. And one more thing, of course, as you mentioned, Bryson DeChambeau has not been able to produce what he's always been producing in terms of, getting the gold or getting there. His, in terms of performance has surely been affected lately. And I think because of, what you just mentioned, at the 10th and the 11th, things were not at the best for him. But right now, in terms of social media, everybody is asking so many questions in terms of his performance and questioning where exactly is the Bryson DeChambeau that we all know of.
Yeah, I really think he's letting a lot of off-the-course issues, affect him. He is letting, as they say, the outside noise is really getting him. And, of course, he went into a long discussion on vaccination. Should he be vaccinated? Right. Had some very questionable theories. He's had an ongoing feud with Brooks Koepka. He threw his manufacturer under the bus, talked about how his clubs are. Bryson needs to get back on golf. Don't worry about feuding with people. Don't worry about vaccinations or worry about golf. And that's really what it is. And that's why, and people know this who follow him, it's a mental game more than anything else. Right now, his mental state is not good. It's really not. He needs to focus on what is important to golf. Don't worry about all this outside stuff. Don't worry about texting the media, what do I need to do to get my golf game better? And, you know, for example, on number 10 yesterday, par 4, he hits in the water off the tee on number 10. He's the only player in the field yesterday hit in the water. Right. Of all 76 guys that play, only one hit in the water. That was Bryson. That shows you he's focusing on the outside distraction. Focus on your game. Focus on what you need to do to play well. Focus on what got you to the U.S. Open title last year, Winged Foot. And, right. You know, if I'm Steve Stricker, who is the U.S. Ryder Cup captain, that's what I'm telling him. Don't focus on this outside stuff. Don't focus on feuding with Brooks Koepka. You focus on what makes Bryson play golf the best, and you'll be just fine.
Perfect, Art. Well, thank you so much for being a part of our show and discussing the world of golf with us. Thank you very much.
Happy to be with you. Have a good day.
Thank you. So that pretty much the in-depth analysis from Art Stricken in terms of golf. And not to forget, in terms of golf, the major thing that, I also wanted to discuss with him was Phil Mickelson. And obviously, he was using this standardized, from the conventional method of putting, he was switched over to the arm lock method. And I think he's probably more experimenting in terms of his golf performance. But let's see how things go up for him in the future. Anyways, guys, I'll quickly jump into the world of Tokyo Olympics. Yes, we talk about Tokyo Olympics. Kenya's Eliud Kipchoge actually managed to successfully defend his Olympic marathon title. And Kipchoge is the third person to successively win the marathon, and he finished in 2 hours, 8 minutes and 38 seconds. And not to forget, not only him got the victory, we talk about Kenya's Paris, who actually won in the women's race. And of 106 runners that started the race, 30 could not finish the race. It means that would definitely have a very tough situation for all the runners. But anyways, once again, congratulations to Kipchoge and Paris for winning the gold for, the entire perspective, because this was important for them in terms of ending, because as mentioned, yes, this was pretty much the last of the major events that were happening in terms of Tokyo Olympics. And I'll now switch over to the Tokyo Olympics closing ceremony. Yes, and the closing ceremony actually marks the end of behind door closed games. So now things are slowly and gradually coming to the state of finishing in terms of Olympics. The games took place without the spectators and the athletes were barred. The United States barely edges out of China and won for the most of gold medals. Not to forget, USA won 39 golds, barely beating out China, who actually managed to win 38. Team USA is taking home a total of 113 medals. US athletes also won 41 silvers and 33 bronze medals. So many congratulations to them. And in terms of China standing second, they are bringing home 88 medals from Tokyo 2020. Team China won 32 silvers and 18 bronze medals. So, and not to forget, with Japan, we talk about them concluding the Tokyo 2020 record for 27 gold medals, and the total tally for them in terms of medals are 58 medals. But anyways, guys, this was pretty much it from the in-depth analysis of what happened in the World Olympics in sports. If you guys want to reach out to us, you can on our social media handle, which is @Indus News Sports. That works both for Twitter and for Instagram. Till then, take good care of yourselves, and bye-bye.